have in place adequate security provided by persons, from a competent security firm.
The Directorate has reminded school owners key security principles, especially creating security committees in schools, including students.
An emergency management plan, that in event of an intruder, how do we go about this? How do we trigger response to manage? In event of a fire outbreak, how do we handle this?
Climatic conditions have also highlighted as a major influence in fire incidents.
Dry conditions, which all of us have been experiencing, and also owing to the winter conditions that have been prevailing. As you do know, a combination of the three work closely to make the vulnerability of certain facilities to fire.
Most of the police recommendations on fire safety can hardly be attained in the rural setting, and inspection of the observance is limited, which continue to risk lives of the school's community. Abdul Nasser Luwama, UBC News.
And police have arrested ADF commander in charge of the Central Districts of Uganda, Commander Abdallah Musa alias Mugo. According to police, Abdallah was in charge of arranging materials for the twin bombing of Kampala in November last year.
The suspect was arrested in Wakiso and was found with exhibits linking him to the recent bombing that occurred in Kampala and different places.
At the time of his arrest, he was actively involved in the recruitment and radicalization of youth, and also the one that was putting into place plans of attacks against security personnel, security facilities, and also VIPs within the country.
Police says Commander Abdallah Musa was the commander of ADF in Uganda and was captured recording details of security personnel in the country and some VIPs.
Commander Abdallah Musa alias Mogo was part of the group that assembled the suicide bomb jackets that were used in the bomb attacks on CPS and Parliament Avenue. Some of the exhibits, including improvised explosive devices that were left behind by Uthman, who died in the suicide attack, were recovered at his home in Katoke.
According to police, Commander's brother Kisambila Mohamedi participated in an attempt to assassinate Minister for Works and Transport, General Katumba Wamala, in January 2021.
Law to Commander Abdallah Kisambila Muhammad is one of those who were involved in the attempted assassination of General Katumba Wamala. And so we believe that his arrest is a major setback in the activities and sinister plans by the ADF in this country.
It should be noted that in 2021, Uganda was in state of terror with a threat of bomb attacks and other security undermining activities. Abdul Nasser Luwama, UBC News.
Now, Forum for Democratic Change FDC party proposed that government exempt taxes on some essential commodities like cooking oil, soap and sugar, whose prices have escalated, as one of the measures to ease the situation. While addressing the media during the FDC's weekly press briefing at Najanankumbi, the party's spokesperson Ibrahim Semujonganda said it's not the war of Ukraine and Russia, as is being said by government, but the problem of high commodity prices has existed for months now.
The Opposition Forum for Democratic Change has reacted to the escalating commodity prices, which they say has been attributed to a number of factors, with the recent being the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The party spokesperson Ibrahim Semujonganda says towards end of last year, prices of petrol rose from 3,800 to 5,000 shillings and has never reduced.
Did the prices go up because of the truck drivers or because of Russia? How do you blame a 3 weeks conflict for something that has been around for months now? people in village cannot live without soap. What government needs to do is to begin looking for a solution. One such a solution is tax exemption.
Article 99(1) of the Constitution grants the President powers to exercise executive authority in accordance with the law. He therefore set up District Security Committee to implement court orders on land, but headed by resident district commissioners. FDC argues that some laws of the Constitution were violated in setting up the District Security Committee.
Matters of land are matters that are settled by the Constitution and the Land Act of 1998 amended in 2010. This we want to warn those who are going to serve on these committees that there will be personal legal consequences when you tamper with matters of land.
Meanwhile, currently, Teso sub-region is experiencing insecurity and communities have been displaced due to armed rustlers from Karamoja sub-region. The number of UPDF soldiers deployed in this area is very small compared to the big numbers of warriors.
There has been murders, rape and stealing of cattle. 5-6 UPDF soldiers were hunting down more than 50 armed Karamojong. And so I think government has not taken this matter as serious as it is. They need to deploy adequately so people can resume their normal lives in their own communities other than...
FDC is conducting regional conferences in northern Uganda under the post-election audit mobilization program. I'm Nafka Farida and Stephen Kalisia in Janankumbi.
The Commander of Land Forces in the Uganda People's Defence Forces, Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, is in Kigali on his second visit to the country in a space of 2 months. Muhoozi, who flew to Rwanda aboard a chartered Uganda Airlines Mitsubishi jetliner, was welcomed at Kigali International Airport by Ugandan High Commission staff led by Anne Katsime, the Charge d'Affaires, and Rwanda's Commandant of the Republican Guard, Brigadier General Willy Rwagasana. Last month, General Muhoozi intimated that he had plans of traveling back to Kigali to sort out outstanding issues between Uganda and Rwanda. Now, experts say that in 3 years, Uganda will be able to cure cancer in children by 65%. Addressing journalists in Kampala, the Executive Director, Uganda Cancer Institute, Dr. Jackson Orem, says childhood cancer is curable if handled in time.
Uganda still has a challenge of cancer that affects children, and 3 out of 10 die every month. On the overall, at least 5,000 cases of cancer are registered annually. The Kampala Data Registry also shows that the incidence of cancer for every 100,000 is 320 newly diagnosed cases. To increase awareness on cancer, Uganda will hold Africa Congress on Cancer from 16th to 18th March on the theme Innovate for Africa, to share innovation in delivering cancer care in Africa. The Executive Director, Uganda Cancer Institute, Dr. Jackson Orem, says that since the institute was set up, Uganda has improved in the fight against cancer, especially in children.
Development that is taking place in the country, and especially at the Uganda Cancer Institute, we are going to reach that 75% and even surpass it.
Uganda Child Cancer Foundation has visited schools to create awareness among students about cancer.
We're working with young people is because we believe young people spread information faster than adults. And I know some will disagree, but this is the truth. Your child who probably knows about cancer will come and tell you, Daddy, probably the way you are not walking usually is probably you could be having some signs and symptoms of prostate cancer.
In Uganda, we see about 25% of those children. So between 600 and 700 children walk through the gates of Uganda Cancer Institute each year.
Mariam Dagiris, Senior Pediatric Oncology, advises public on types of food that one can take to prevent cancer.
Continuous health education that the nurses provide to their patients in terms of what do we feed patients when they go home, what foods they can include in their diet to make sure that we are meeting all the nutritional targets that these children need.
Nevertheless, for every 100 cases of cancer diagnosed, 80 of the cases die, leaving a 20% survival rate. Close to 40% of cancers are infection-related, such as cancer of the cervix, cancer of the liver, Kaposi sarcoma, or cancer of the skin, cancer of the head and neck, lymphomas, Burkitt's lymphoma. I'm Nafka Farida and Andrew Sebira.
And in court, the High Court has dismissed with costs an application filed by city lawyer Hassan Maleh Mabirizi seeking to quash orders of having him arrested, which were issued by Justice Musa Sekana for contempt of court of a court order. For the second time, Judge Boniface Wamala ruled that the issues raised by the applicant Mabirizi were overtaken by events since the issues were already determined by Court of Appeal.
On 15th February 2022, Head of Civil Division Court Justice Musa Sekana issued orders to arrest State Lawyer Hassan Maleh Mabirizi for contempt of court when he insulted the person of Justice Musa Sekana. Mabirizi, who has now spent over 20 years in prison, has appealed against this decision, citing that the trial judge in this matter, Christopher Madrama, erred in the law. State Attorney Nathan Ebira objected to the application, informing court that it was wrongly filed before court.
Is intended to continue political harassing me, being in prison without a hearing. Every time I appear, they get something to talk about and then somehow I go back.
Justice Boniface Wamala has dismissed Hassan Maleh Mabirizi's application with costs.
Submitted that this application is an abuse of the court process. I've taken note of the fact that this application has been overtaken by events. It seeks for stay of an order that has been already implemented and which a higher court has refused to stay. In the premises, I find that this application has been overtaken by events. I therefore uphold both preliminary objections raised by the Respondent's Counsel and dismiss this application with costs to the Respondent.
He also declined to grant Mabirizi's prayer of having him not arrested as per Justice Musa Sekana's orders for contempt of court.
Stay of an order cannot be said to be analogous to releasing the applicant where the order has already been enforced. The option that was available to the applicant was to amend the notice of motion to introduce a new ground, which he didn't. I'm therefore not in agreement with the applicant's submission.
After the ruling, Mabirizi intends to appeal against Justice Wamala's decision.
Challenge that application through an appeal, because I have a right of appeal. 2, through a reference to the East African Court of Justice for the decision for being in contravention of Article 6.2, 6D, and 7.2 of the East African Community Treaty.
On 21st February 2022, police arrested lawyer Hassan Maleh Mabirizi at Chambago University main gate following Justice Musa Sekana's orders. Mabirizi has spent over 20 days in Chitala government prison. Natong Rebecca, Namamonde Deborah, UBC News.
With that, we take a quick break. When we return, more details. This is News Tonight.
MBs are now bigger MBs only on MTN. When you load a daily band of 250 shillings, you no longer get 15 MBs, you get 30 MBs. For 500 shillings, you no longer get 40 MBs, you get 80 MBs. For 1,000 shillings, it's no longer 100 MBs, it's 180 MBs. Dial *150 *10 hash or use the My MTN app to load bigger daily bundles only on MTN.
MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Where does it come from? That thing that makes us Ugandan. That thing that makes us different from everybody else. Where does it grow infinitely? Some say it's in our history, in our culture, and in our hearts, in our warm smiles and vast miles of coffee, dairy farmland, and amazing maize fields. It's in our inherent pursuit to always be better, to never stop growing and glowing. So you see, we are more than just a waving flag. We are a nation of sweat and skills, a nation of ideas and inventions. But what truly makes us Ugandan is our quest to improve the quality of life for Ugandans by creating sustainable jobs, businesses, and improving household incomes. That's what makes us Uganda Development Bank.
Uganda Development Bank, inspiring development.
Welcome back. Minister for Karamoja Affairs Mary Goretti Kitutu has mobilized the community peace-building meeting in Karamoja sub-region to foster peace among the Karamojong. At Kakamar sub-county headquarters in Kabong district, the 3rd Division Commander Brigadier Joseph Balikudembe rejected the proposal of registering guns and supplying ammunition to the people of Karamoja to protect themselves. Let's take a look.
Karamoja region has been experiencing insecurity, which is characterized by commercialized raids, killings, housebreaks, road ambushes. The Ministry for Karamoja Affairs has organized community peace-building meetings in the region to address insecurity in the region.
Is causing us a problem as UPDF, our security forces. Each district thinks that UPDF is irrelevant in Karamoja.
We can have a meeting at the district level before we engage the communities, because there is a laxity from the Kenyan government on following up on their people. Their people are just moving like wild animals. They come here.
Minister for Karamoja Affairs Dr. Mary Goretti Kitutu led the meeting at Kakama sub-county and Kabong district headquarters.
That's why we have come for these peace meetings. Engage the church, because you are the people who are always here. I've seen the women of peace here. Use these ladies so that we can be able to talk to the community and we stop this issue of revenge. They took mine, let me also go for the other ones.
A deployment in the whole sub-region to add on the boots on ground to make sure that we overwhelm the criminal elements within the sub.
Kabong district leadership decried low recoveries of stolen animals, increased famine and elephant encroachment.
Use of primary school going children to go for raids. The children are used to go and break the corrals as the armed warriors stand guard. 1,392 cows lost, 23,328 shots, roasted goats and sheep, and 1,083 donkeys. In total, about over 55,000 animals lost from 2019.
Minister Kitutu advised Kabong leaders to air out their issues in the regional council meeting due Thursday and Friday this week.
Chance to present your report from your district, so the ministers, the key ministers will be there.
But the 3rd Division Commander, Brigadier General Joseph Balikudembe, decries concealment of information and rejected the idea of registering people with guns and supply those who want ammunitions.
Because even those ones that are having the guns, they are not using it for protection. They are using it to cross and raid others.
Meanwhile, over 30 people have died of hunger. 20 died in raids in the sub-county in the last 3 months.
Now, human rights activists, together with journalists from alternative digital media, have raised their voices against illegal detention of journalists. This follows unlawful arrest of 9 journalists from alternative digital media on Thursday, 10th of March, at their offices in Kampala. The human rights activists want authorities to produce the scribes in court. Meanwhile, police say they are still investigating the communications rights case.
Free Norman Tumuhimbise! Free Ruwede!
For the people who are aspiring to be the next journalists of our time, at least we should be afforded the cheap decency of communicating to the families. These people are breadwinners of their families. These people are sisters, their daughters, their sons. What we want, if they have a case, that might be there, and the government has all the powers to do whatever they have to do in case there is a threat. What we need is just proper communication.
We sit today to pass our final concerns, about the human rights issues.
Muhimbise Norman, the executive director of the company, the media company, that media house, with a number of 8 other people, with one of those people who was just doing internship from UCU. Up to now, we haven't got the chance to know where they are.
We always get complaints of offensive communication, hate crimes and polarization from certain sections of the public and concerned authorities. So they were arrested along that, and they are at SID Chireka. There is a joint task team that is handling their matter. We are trying to engage them to find out, are they appearing in court today, so that we give an update. I think the CID PR liaison will follow it up and see if they are going to appear in court today within the 48-hour rule, or give the next update. I think we shall be able to get that as well. Yeah.
And the deputy spokesperson of police, Claire Nabaka, has called upon school administrators to streamline communication channels with the students. She says when institutions of learning address misunderstandings within the university community, it will minimize strikes.
Claire Nabaka has appealed to administrations of learning institutions to come up with guiding principles intended to curb strikes. It follows increasing cases of strikes registered by police last week.
We call upon the schools to engage students in co-curricular activities. This should be made mandatory, and then enough time be given to such students to be able to exercise and nurture their talents. These exercises, I'm sure, will go a long way in curbing the stresses that usually these students may get, probably through their work or through even their personal problems. We advise that schools establish or put continuous psychosocial support. Most schools have school counselors. We advise you to continue with these school counselors, and we also ask parents to be part of the process.
Since the reopening of schools after the lockdown, many academic institutions of higher learning have experienced strikes, causing damages to facilities and also claiming lives.
The students should understand that you could actually solve issues at a round table, but then also the administration should understand that these students have a say and what they believe in equally matters. If we can have something like that this was something very simple. It didn't call for all that, but because some people believe that they didn't need to listen to the student side, that's how we ended up that way.
The major concern, which caused strike at Makerere University, was a staggered mode of studying despite full reopening of the economy.
And the State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, has cautioned parents not to discriminate against jobs if they are to raise money to pay school fees for their children. The minister says government introduced UPE and USE programs to enable parents send their children to school. This was during the Bamunanika Constituency Education Fund ceremony for Kalagala Sub-County in Luwero, held at Mpiji Busika Town Council. Minister Jesse Muyingo established this program in 2011 to benefit over 1,000 learners from underprivileged families in Luwero district. Now, Dr. Muyingo also cautioned parents that the Ministry of Education has started an operation to punish those still keeping learners at home. At the meeting, the minister also met 60-year-old Fenekansi Lule, who has spent 15 years laying bricks from which he has supported his children in school long before the Bamunanika Constituency Education Fund came in to support him.
Nsaba abana baffe nga bekozesa ekigambo kya fees registration ekyo njagala mukitegeere nti zo gavumenti sente yazisasudde eza UNEBO mu government schools bw'oba ogeze mu private ekyo kyekikyo.
Now, the National Forum of People Living with AIDS in Uganda and Aga Khan Foundation have supported people living with HIV and AIDS with food relief, bicycles to use for their day-to-day lives. Its donation was handed over here in Kampala in Mengo.
Good health is a necessity, although there are gaps to bridge the gap of accessibility to services. Patients suffering from different health complications face stigma and discrimination due to the nature of the diseases or illnesses.
Because we know we have to take medicine every day. And if you take medicine on an empty stomach, it hurts you, but it can kill you.
People living with HIV/AIDS also suffer the same. It's for this reason that non-government organizations, companies through the corporate social responsibility, have come up to support persons living with HIV/AIDS. Nafofanu, an umbrella body that supports people living with HIV/AIDS, has partnered with the Aga Khan Foundation. The Aga Khan Foundation was led by the program's manager, Olga Duffin.
11 months of tuyambako mu bintu byonna bye tugenda okukola kukosa okusapotinga ekitongole.
Understand the challenges and the needs of the people in Uganda and indeed everywhere that they work, and then figure out programming, figure out interventions so that we can serve the people with the ultimate goal of...
The executive director Nafofanu Stella Kentusi says COVID-19 greatly affected the well-being of people living with HIV/AIDS, as many can't sustain proper nutrition required for them while on medication. Ivan Juko, Flower Semper, UBC.
And in AMUDAT district, girls at Kalas Boarding Primary School are threatened by insecurity as Karamajong warriors cut the fences and attack them during the night. The district education officer for AMUDAT, Anthony Lawat, says the district is trying to protect the girls from forced marriage and female genital mutilation.
Kalas Primary School has an enrollment of over 670 pupils. The school, located in AMUDAT district bordering Kenya, accommodates girls rescued from forced marriage and FGM.
Been able to bring over 100 girls to the schools, and most of these girls, some of them were even being forced to be married, and some of them are having children, and we've been able to bring them back to school.
The district education officer Anthony Lawoti says warriors are a threat to girls' schools in AMUDAT district.
Together with the head teacher to ensure that to some extent when it gets to 5
7:30 to 6. There will be no movement. The girls will be now within the school premises, and then the teachers will be operating everywhere to ensure that girls are inside and they are really protected.
Some human rights activists say they are cooperating with police to fight the warriors who attack the girls' school.
We built a good connection with the police. Whenever we've received any threat in a school, we communicate to the police, and police have been able to respond timely to make sure that these people are scared off, and also follow to different communities to sensitize them about the rights of these people.
The Pokot tribe in AMUDAT district bordering Kenya marry off young girls. Some of the Pokot girls who were victims of FGM tell their experience.
My father forced me for marriage, and I was too young to accept to go for marriage. I said I cannot manage to suffer and carry somebody's child. I decided to run here as a rescue center.
I'm so proud of myself to stay at school. During the old days, it was so hard for us to provide for ourselves, where sister used to provide for us for the little foods we had, in the store.
The head teacher, Sister Scovia Maria, said they lack food to feed the girls in boarding.
Yet the meals that we receive from them, that is the breakfast and lunch, but our cry is for supper, because parents themselves can't afford to help the children. Why? Because they have a negative attitude towards education.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay. Dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees. Select option 2, school pay. Select option 1, pay fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Total Energies has undertaken a number of initiatives aimed at ensuring that Ugandan entities and citizens are adequately equipped to participate in the oil and gas sector.
Yeah, we do manufacture and supply personal protective equipment. We supply beyond Total Energies. We supply their subcontractors. Yeah, we have seen our company transform from a trading company to a manufacturing entity. We are able to set up some of these facilities that we are enjoying right now. And these facilities also are supporting other sub-sectors. So they have no idea what oil and gas is, but the items they are using are a result of oil and gas. Overall, the industry, manufacturers, suppliers, traders will all enjoy.
Total Energies EP Uganda is committed to the empowerment of Ugandans to take an active part in the overall development of the oil project in Uganda.
Need to send money to a loved one but you don't have enough on your phone? Have you run out of fuel but you don't have enough money? Do you want to pay for yaka or water but have insufficient funds? Or do you want to shop but you don't have enough money? Don't worry, get away with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial *165*5*3# to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
Let's talk sports. Uganda's People's Defence Forces officer, Sergeant Abdul Sebute, has vowed to ably defend his Eastern Central Africa Boxing Union bantamweight title. Sebute will fight Tanzanian champions Haji Juma Mwalugo on 8th April in a 10-round event at Bombo Sports Ground in Luwero district. And this fight is organized by Nara Promotions, also has Uganda's Juma Ntege defending his cruiserweight title against another Tanzanian, Imani Daudi Kawaya. Several fights are also lined up as undercards, including Moses Mutaka against Hamza Olum in the featherweight, while Moses Senyonjo and Ryan Lawrence will contest in bantam. Others expected to fight on the day are Justin Okello, Zubairi Nadomi, Joseph Kabali and Isaac Katantasi. And Crown Beverages Uganda Limited is commonly referred to as Pepsi Cola, has this morning launched a 3-month 2022 EUFA Champions League promotion codenamed Go for Goals. This time round, as Ugandan Dennis Masinde Onyango has been added to the list of the world footballers alongside Messi and Paul Pogba.
Crown Beverages Uganda Limited has launched the 2022 UEFA Champions League promotion campaign. This year's campaign, codenamed Go for Goals, will feature a Ugandan for the first time, Dennis Masinde Onyango, alongside Messi and Paul Pogba. The company has injected 1.6 billion shillings in the 3 months campaign. The Pepsi brand manager, Ernest Sentongo, told journalists at Fast Sports Fusion Bugolobi, Kampala, that the inclusion of Onyango this time will inspire the Ugandan youths.
Previous campaigns we have had mainly international superstars. We had Messi in various campaigns, Pogba in various campaigns. However, this year we have decided to bring in our own Dennis Onyango, who's also a face for the campaign, and we're very excited because our head company, PepsiCo, is using that theme play to inspire. We have brought in Dennis Onyango to bring that theme to life.
He told the media that what one needs to do is to buy Crown Beverages products.
Prices include t-shirts, caps, cash, 5,000 shillings, and TV screens. So if you want to take part, just buy a Pepsi or Pepsi Max 330. Check out the cup, and what you see is what you win.
Last year's UEFA Champions League was won by Chelsea.
Well, that does it for news tonight. Thank you for sticking with us. Elizabeth Nakakoni is our sign language interpreter. I am Rhodah Ngonzi. Have yourselves a lovely night.
On the journey of AGOA, one of the things that first happened was to train over 2,000 girls.
So there were many problems for investors at the time I joined Uganda Investment Authority. And our role was to identify them, go to government and say, you've got to change this.
In 1986, we had about 2,000 kilometers of what you would have called paved road, but in very sorry state.
I want to thank UBC that enables us to get these very important messages.
Showcasing where we were and how far we have come.
The Kalanga Infrastructure Services Limited, we signed an implementation agreement where we are running 2 ferries, we're generating and distributing power to the entire Bugala Island, supplying clean piped water.
Even Enterprise Uganda, we started with 5 people. Today we're all over the country. When you are approached by UBC,
every week,
please make time and offer us the benefit of knowing where you came from, what you are doing, where you are headed to, so that we can all appreciate that things can be done.
107.3 Kampala 96.